Hey man, let's fly so low to the ground. Let's make like the humans. Let's eat from their tables and live in their houses. And with that, he flicked a cigarette butt into the rear seat of a convertible parked below, and they watched as the upholstery caught on fire, and the other says back to the one, "Nah, man, you got it all wrong. We should see how high we can fly. We should see what altitudes we can reach. We should try to fly through the hole in the ozone layer." And with that, they started to argue. They fought, and they fought, and they filled themselves with hate until they became so human, they electrocuted themselves. Cockroach karma. Walking home late at night, I see cockroaches dining a la carte. I walk with my head down, looking out for the hungry scavengers in the soft glow of the streetlights. I could be indifferent and crush them and snicker as they crackle, but I realize that I too am on the sidewalk. Zipper drawer, are you going to ban my kitchen? If my faucet dripped backwards, I wonder if I could hear satanic messages. And I am so used to sleeping with hair in my face that if a cockroach walks across it in the middle of the night, I will not feel it or wake up. And I fear that one night they will all form a pentagram around my bed and dance to the Gehenna drum beats of water droplets. Kiss Prince. I was in this restaurant with a mirror for one wall, and this lady kisses the mirror. And I'd never seen anyone do that before, so when she did it again, I started laughing. She turned around and she said, "What?" And I said, "Do you kiss the mirror when you're alone too, or is it just when you're in public?" She said that she kissed the mirror when she was alone too, and not that she'd only kissed the mirror, but she kissed a toaster, which burned her lips. It was at this point I realized I was not dealing with an intellectual colossus. People talk about how homeless people and other people who talk to themselves, and they say, yeah, they're crazy, but the real lunatics are the people with mirrors and toasters and walls to hang their mirrors on and bread to put in their toasters and lipstick with which to leave prints on reflective surfaces. If you crazies have to kiss something, make it one of us. We will feel it. It will make a difference. Some of the clouds will go away, and maybe a few of us will even quit talking to ourselves. Any man who can admit to me that he has accidentally drunk from a bottle of his own urine and is relatively unconcerned that he may have swallowed a cockroach only last week is a man braver to me than the man in the Marlboro ads who fights fires all day. And maybe if he were in the ad instead, I would start smoking. But he will never be the Marlboro man because advertising executives in air-conditioned offices high above the scum-smeared hotel rooms of Chinatown do not find him glamorous or enviable. I will never understand what a real man is or what that has to do with sucking on fire. And I will never understand money, although advertising executives in those same offices get much more of it than I, and suck fire after making love to expensive women in expensive places. And although anyone can join a frequent flyer program, cockroach and urine swallowers who watch black and white TVs with poor reception rarely do. Maybe it's because they are the real men, and real men don't fly in airplanes. Real men have enough trouble scraping enough change from the primordial corners of their apartments to buy a pack of cigarettes. It's called Breaking the Pact. As two rats struggled to eat one another in the cold water dripping darkness of the kitchen, two electric-eyed pack makers sat in the living room, quiet as a burnt-out light bulb, chain-smoking cigarettes from the same pack, lighting them with a candle that sat between them on the floor and screamed out the only light in the apartment. And as butts were extinguished in the carpet, each one glared at the other with more and more ferocity and enthusiastic disgust. And when the last cigarette had joined the others, she looked at him with the look of, "You never could do anything by yourself," on her face, picked up the pistol, lustfully wrapped her lips around the barrel, and squeezed the trigger. She fell backwards, but the gun fell forwards, and in the light of the flame, he could see the lipstick on the nickel-plated barrel, which was not quite as red as the wall he faced. Long unconcerned about the security deposit, he relit one of the cigarette butts without lipstick and listened to the sirens get louder as somewhere in the darkness 2 rats died of gluttony. Leaving for the late night bus, where anybody who's ever had to wait a long time for a bus all alone, in the middle of nowhere. Ones that only come like every 40 minutes, but they end up coming like every hour and a half.
I bet you could go on an 8 bus.
Yeah. Sometime around 1 a.m., while waiting for the Fillmore bus on Gary Street, the only other person around was this black girl in her late 20s who was asking me for a quarter. Now, all the change I had was 21 cents, so I offered that to her, which she gratefully accepted. And then she said, "I sure wish you could come over to my place tonight. It's only a $5 thing. What do you say?" Now, I had $5, but I told her no, and she walked off down the unburdened sidewalks as I sat on the curb. And the concrete only got louder with emptiness, and I could watch time crawl down the street like a Salvador Dali cock painted with snails. And I could have been bleeding to death, and I wouldn't have known the difference. The bus finally came, but in some ways I feel like it never has. I feel like a bloodless zombie with $5, guarding the empty spots of the world, making sure someone is around to hear them exist. Although there are no trees where I live anyway.